Okay, so today we will be discussing about basic introduction to Python programming. So as you can see that I am using Visual Studio Editor IDE, I'll call it. This is Microsoft Visual Studio IDE. So this is the first program which is basic introduction, and it tells us how to take the input from the user and print it. Of course, Python has got data types just like any other programming language. It can work on floating point calculations, it can work on integer calculations, it can work on strings also. And okay, so here we are not using those data types, but yes, I can do that. Okay, enter the pin. Okay, here I can do it. Okay, anyways, name is equal to input, enter your name, so it will take the input from the user, and here it will print name. Second is address is equal to input, enter the address line, it will print address. Then address to, again it will take the input from the user, again it will print it. And so address to is the okay, this is the name of the variable. As you can see, address to address, spellings are wrong. Okay, so this is the name of the variable. Okay, and this as you can see, this comma you can see over here it will print the input which it has received from the user. And pin number is okay, city is equal to input, enter the city. So far by default it will be string only. And there you are. Okay, and I think I have done concatenation over here with city and pin because I am printing both of them at the same time. And then I've got state is equal to input e and t. Again the spelling is wrong here. Okay, it will take the name of the input state, and here it will print state, but it will directly print state. Okay, so it will, because I don't think it is taking any special sort of variable like comma or single quotes or whatever. Let me do some experiments with integer values. I think I have written programs for it. Okay, here you are. We start with integer values, and there are various reasons why I have chosen Microsoft IDE. First one is the community edition is free. Second reason is that it has got the largest market share. Okay, so before I execute this code, let me save it and let me run it. Start with debugging. Start with debugging is a better idea. It makes your code more safer. Okay. So, they all are strings so far, as I've already told you. Okay, cities, whatever. Mm, mm. This one was integer. Okay. So let me close it up. Second program is regarding finding out the area of a rectangle, and you already know that area of a rectangle is equal to length multiplied by breadth. And so first of all it will uh, print area of a rectangle. Okay, Okay, here you are. Okay. Okay. So radius is a variable and I'm taking it float input from the user. So it can be okay. So float means that okay 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, 4.1, 5.1, 6.1, they all are float numbers. So because I have already I think told you this Python is an interpreted language, so you can write anything anywhere you like. And okay, so pi is equal to math.py. This I am calling from the math library of Python. Then area of circle is equal to pi multiplied by radius raised to the power 2. As you can see, 1 stands for multiplication, 2 star stands for to the power, and print area of circle, so it will directly print this value of the variable. Then rectangle is equal to input, enter length and breadth. Okay, so rectangle means okay, so it is again a variable and I am okay, rectangle is equal to rectangle is area of rectangle. Okay, so I am taking the values from the user and I am using an array. And in any programming language of the world, you take PHP, you take C sharp, you take C, C++, Java, whatever you like, arrays will always start from zero. So the zeroth element will be the length of the rectangle. As you can see, float rectangle dot split. So I am splitting the values into two, obviously with a space, and the breadth of the rectangle will be the first element of the array. Area of the rectangle will be length multiplied by breadth. So zeroth element of the array multiplied by first element of the array, and after that it is printing area of the rectangle. And so I just let me save it because I did make some modifications into the program, and it is giving me two options: start with debugging, start without debugging. Start with debugging will be better because I want my compiler to check the complete code. I'll call it, sorry, interpreter, before running it. I forgot to tell you, theoretically Python has got only interpreter, but here you can see Microsoft is different only. You know that. So this has got both compiler and interpreter at the same time. Because here I have made some error. Intentionally I did make it. You can see that it is underlined in red color. And here I am getting okay. So this is a way of okay. So this is called IntelliSense by Python. Sorry, IntelliSense by Microsoft, because it will automatically give me some suggestions whenever I do typing. So let me just here you can see print is coming automatic. Different options from P are coming automatically. Control Z. Okay, so go back. It is import math. Looks okay. Let's not waste time on checking it. Let me compile it directly. There will be an error. I'll find out. Enter the radius of circle. Let me keep it simple. Okay. So pi r square. Okay. 4 multiplied by 4 equal to 16. 16 multiplied by approximately 3.14. But I'm just keeping it. Yeah, I think it's okay only. Okay. So I enter the length of the 3 and 4. Length and the breadth of the rectangle. This should be 12. And I think I've got the proper output now. Let's switch over to the next code. Oh, this one is really cute. I'll call it cute because here I'm calculating factorial of a number, and if you uh, try to calculate the factorial in any other programming language, that will be somewhere around half page of a code. But here, as you can see, it is just less than 30% of the page length. Okay. So number is equal to integer. Int stands for integer. Input, enter the number. Uh, it is only a typing mistake. It is not a serious matter. And factorial is equal to 1. So if the number is 1, then the factorial will be 1. Obvious is that, okay? Anyways, mathematically, factorial means that n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 up to first term. So this is a variable for a in the range. So in Python, you don't have to do those unnecessarily imports and includes and all those things. You don't have to declare each and every variable. So that is why it is the best language for artificial intelligence, because things are most of the time automatic in Python. So for a variable a in range from 2 to number plus 1, okay, factorial is equal to factorial multiplied by a. So here what it will do is that it will keep on multiplying. So let me give you some comments over here. So for example, I want to take 6 over here, okay. So let us assume that the value of number number is equal to 6, and so this was intelligence. I pressed the enter button and this hash came up automatically. Okay, so number is okay now for a in range 2 to number plus 1. Okay, so the range will be from 2. Let's execute it. See, the best principle of a programming is to just execute it and then see what happens. Six factorial is 120, I think. Okay, I made a mistake over here. This should be number. This is intelligence. Microsoft Visual Studio is automatically giving me hints. I mean, it is the most powerful IDE. Yes, there are good IDEs in the market. Atom is there, NetBeans is there, Apache NetBeans is there, but my favorite IDE is Microsoft because it is automatic. Even Python is also sort of an automatic language. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so this is another way of writing a comment, and every programming language has got a way of writing a comment. So let me again start. I think I've removed the bugs. Okay, 7 factorial will be 720, 6 factorial will be I think 120. I will do my draft calculation for you, but I expect you to know it. Okay, so let me go ahead with this. Okay, so hash right over here 6 factorial. 6 factorial is equal to 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 6. Okay, so from number 2 to the number which the user is inputting, it will just keep on multiplying, and this is what we have done over here. Doesn't matter multiply by 1 or multiply, okay, because 1 you can ignore seriously. Okay, so I think factorial issue is solved. So this is the number to test whether the number is a prime or not. Most of the programmers, I'll call it, programmers do get confused in this program. The reason is that, for example, you want to test a number. For example, okay, let me put up a command over here. I want to test 100. So what is the square root of 100? 100 will be equal to 10 multiplied by 10. So if I have to calculate whether 100 is a prime number or not, first of all I have to find out whether what is the square root of the number. So if I get an integer square root, if the square root itself is an integer number, then obviously it is not a prime number. And if I'm getting some sort of a non-integer square root, okay, for example, I take 102. So this is divisible by 3. Okay, 3 multiplied by, which is further equal to 2 multiplied by 17. So if I try to find out square root of 102, I will not get an integer number. So this is the trick. I'll call it a shortcut method. See, even today, as of June 2022, mathematicians are doing research on finding out new ways of finding a, I'll call it finding out faster ways of finding out a prime number. And yes, we have got commercial real world applications of prime number. Okay, the best example is encryption for banking purposes, which we all are using. We all are using pretty good privacy for internet banking and all that. So yes, prime number is uh, of actual use in the real world. Okay, so here it is taking the input from the user. It is an import library from Python. Doesn't matter, I can just put it wherever I like, because in other languages like Java, C or C++, you will have problems. But in Python, you can, if it is an interpreted language, mind you, it is not a compiled language. As I've already told you, you can put things wherever you like. It is, to some extent, I'll call it positive. Yeah, Python rarely uses these kind of brackets. Okay, but they are heavily used in other programming languages like C, C++, or Java. And but after running these four programming languages, what I have realized is that 99, sorry, I'll call it 80% of the syntax is same. The same common things: file input, while, do while, all that. If else in Python, you have got L, if, ELIF, but you can still say that at least 50% of the languages are same only. So prime number is equal to true. Okay, so this is a binary variable. It has got two values, true or false. So only two things are possible. Either the number is prime or the number is not prime. We don't have any third thing in this universe. Okay. So a is equal to input math dot square root number. Okay, I think you should be able to infer it square root, and number is the variable which I have taken from the user. While a is greater than 1, so as long as a is greater than 1, if number percent a is equal to 0. Okay, so this is a modulo operator. It is same in any programming language of the world you like: C, C++, Java, Python, whatever you like. Modulo operator will tell you the result of the division. After division, if I'm getting 0, then it means that it is not a prime number. Simple as that. And I was expecting something. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Okay. Else a is equal to a minus 1. Okay, so it is subtracting 1 from a. Okay, so first of all, I will take square root of a number. Okay, so if the square root is not an integer, a is equal to in math dot square root number. This should have tested it anyways. Okay, but okay, so I'll take a square root of a number, and after that um, I will decrement the square root by 1 in every step. Okay, so I take 102 square root. Okay, so as I've written over here, this should be an integer value, int integer value. So integer value of this will be 10. So I just divide by 9, then I divide by 8, then I divide by 7, 6, and at the step 6, this will get caught because 6 is equal to 3 multiplied by 2. Okay. So if the prime, it is a prime number, then it will say that the number is prime, as it is not a prime number. Okay. So the mechanism is that if first of all I take a square root of a number, okay, so which the user is giving me, and after that I find out the remainder when the number is divided by square root. If it is a prime number, okay, so if it is equal to 0, then yes, it is not a prime number because I'm getting a proper division. I'm properly dividing it, so it is not a prime number. And this is a break statement. It will execute the working of the code for some time, and I will decrement it by 1, and after that again this loop will get executed. Okay, so here this is only a print statement, print. Okay, so print is there in every programming language. C, you take Java. In Java also you have got print and println. So let me execute it for you. Start with debugging. So let me test 7. Number 7 is a prime number, and okay. So 8 will divide 80. So obviously it is not a prime number. Let me move to this one. Next one. Here we are finding out GCD, or greatest common divider of two numbers. Let me give you an example. Uh, I'll take 30 and 36. So they both are divisible. DIVISIBLE. So they both are divisible by 6. Okay. So the greatest common divider of 30 and 36 is 6. Let me give you one more example. I take, this is a comment, so don't okay, expect it to run. I take 55 and let me take 77. So they both are divisible by 11. Both are divisible by 11. So how do you find out GCD? Okay, I have paint over here. Okay, so let me click on this. So let me take 55 and 77. So let me divide both of them. 55 ones are 55 and remainder will be 22. Now the greatest common divider is 11. Okay, so what I do is that I keep one aside because I will need it to get my number 11. Okay, so the remainder is 22. Okay, so 22, I tell you 22 is not able to divide 55. 22 is not able to divide 77. So 22 again I have to take some sort of a temporary variable, which I will be showing that in the program. Okay, so first of all I take two numbers. I take the input from the user. I put first number into an array element 0th position. I take second number into the array element first position. Okay, while number 2 is not equal to 0. Okay, so as long as 77 is not equal to 0, 77 is not equal to 0. Okay, so temporary number is equal to number 2, and number 2 is equal to number 1 divided by number 2 remainder. This is the, it will tell you the remainder. Okay, this is modulo operator. A divided by B, what will be the remainder? Okay, number 1 is equal to temporary. So I have to shuffle. I have to rearrange it. Okay, so what I do is that number 2 is equal to temporary. Okay, so first of all I take, okay, let me tell you the working mechanism of it. Temporary is equal to number 2, so I write over here temporary. Temporary is equal to 77. Okay, then I take number 2 is equal to number 2 is equal to number 1% divided by number 2, and what will be the remainder. Okay, so if I'm dividing 55 by 77, the remainder will be 55 only. And then again I take number 1 is equal to temporary. Okay, so number 1, this is equal to 77. Now again this step will repeat itself. Why? Because number 2 is not equal to 0. Number 2 is equal to 55. Okay, so this line is unnecessary. Let me remove it up for you. Go to cut, okay, and save it. So let me work it on again. And here I have got, okay, so number 1 is equal to 77. Now in step 2, I write it here, STEP, step 2. Okay, step 2 states that temporary is equal to number 2. Okay, so temporary, temporary, temporary is equal to 77. Sorry, temporary is equal to 55. Okay, because temporary is equal to number 2. Number 2 is equal to number 1%. Number 2. So this will be equal to, if I'm dividing 77 by 55, I get number 2 is equal to 22. Number 1 is equal to temporary. Number 1. Number 1 is equal to 55, because again it will be temporary. Again, number 2 is not equal to 0. So again I need to repeat this step. Go to step 3. Why? Because this while loop is still active. Okay, so let me expand it for you. Okay. Step 3. Okay, so I should make it a command. Okay, so here you are. Temporary is equal to number 2. Okay, so I write it over here, temporary. And number 2 is equal to number 1%, number 2 and the remainder. Okay, and if I divide 55 by 22, so the remainder is going to be 11. Okay, number 2 is equal to 11, and so if you keep on dividing it, in the end you will get 0. I know that, but okay, anyways. So number 1 is equal to temporary, so number 1 will be equal to 22. Okay, so number 1 is equal to 22. Okay, and if you again divide number 1 and number 2 in step 4, you are going to get 0. Okay, so number 1 divided by number 2, number 2 is equal to, okay, so this is your GCD. You are dividing, and after that you get the remainder 11. Okay, so let me give you a live demo of it. Start with debugging. should not have any yes. 55 and 77. Okay. So the GCD of 55 and 77 is 11, but unnecessarily I was getting number 2. Okay, so I can just remove it up again. Okay, uh, remove it up, refresh. Okay, so that's all for today. Today we did the basic introduction for Python, and as per the programming traditions, you have to print a hello world program. Okay, so anyways, let me print it up for you. Okay, whatever. Hello world. Just one line. So I take 30 and 36. This is a homework for you. You will do it. Okay. So okay. Thank you for your time.